Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Andy Ogg, and on behalf of travelprofessionalnews.com, homebasedtravelagent.com, and findahostravelagency.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar and thank you so very much for taking time out of your day to join us. Today's topic is India by water and wilderness, emerging triangle and land of the Jungle Book. Our speaker today is Arjun Sinsinwar and Chief Inspiration Officer of Antara Cruises. Here's some information that Arjun has shared with us, and I really think we're in for a treat. Growing up engaged in independent travel firms and the cutting edge of destination and industry defining products, I've been privileged to pioneer, innovate, luxurious experiences for sustainable learning and cultural exchange across South Asia that are defined by and directly benefit local peoples. Today's monsoon makes tomorrow's cruises, and to voyage is an agricultural act of terror. Luxury cruising is not just the provision of a photogenic room with fine dining, it is the kaleidoscope of local transformative engagement at every level. The seamlessness of movement across landscapes, the handcrafted nature of indigenous ships, authenticity of design and textiles, and the transformative nature of discussions with expert guides, the deliciousness of reimagined traditional cuisine, and the warmth of interactions with local staff and people. I'm very excited that you are all here today, and please excuse any stumbling. I am blind and have to use a voiceover to read all of these wonderful words that he's created. But for this webinar, please remember that you are all muted. We welcome your questions. You can type those in on the question area at the right-hand side of your screen, and we will do our best to address every single one of them at the end of the webinar. When the presentation is over, we'll make some time for those questions and pay attention very closely today because we are giving away a $50 Amazon gift card courtesy of travelprofessionalnews.com. This will take me to the end of my talking and stuttering. Arjun, let's turn the microphone over to you because you're going to do better than I just did.
Well, thank you so much, Andy, for that incredible introduction. And yeah, thank you for getting through that incredibly dense paragraph of introduction, which I wasn't sure what was required, but you definitely did a fantastic crack at getting that out there. So namaste, everyone. My name is Arjun, and thank you so much for being here today. I'm the Chief Inspiration Officer from Antara Cruises. And really, I've come to tell you a story today about cultural treasures and wild wonders, a new cruise program we just launched with a new land itinerary. And so I'll be covering today India by water and wilderness, the Emerald Triangle and land of the Jungle Book, this transformative wilderness journey of redefining perspective of India through these incredible natural parks and areas. So first, I'll cover a little about who we are and what we do, and then I'll cover a little bit about the program. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask to Andy. I don't see any text box here, but I'm sure Andy will fire out if there's any questions going along the way. So Antara Cruises, we're a 20 years old river cruise company, part of a 40 years family firm. We've been passionate about redefining perspectives of India through immersive journeys by land, river and rail across the different areas of the subcontinent. It comes from the Sanskrit. It's a second note in classical music. So it's meant to signify a distinction of quality of service, transformational journeys and memories of a lifetime. And so for over 20 years, we have been redefining India as a world-class and regenerative river cruise destination. So the question is, why river cruise India? And so the answer is, India has a vast history and heritage, over 5,000 years of cultural and civilizational innovations, things like Ayurveda and yoga, the science of healing and wellness, games like Ludo, chess, snakes and ladders, great architecture, great poetry, but of course, all this and more, the great romances and dramas have been built along and because of the rivers, the waterways, which were the highways for commodities trade, for the intellectual exchange, but also fueled by the annual monsoon that creates this lush, verdant habitat that has a rich biodiversity, wonderful birds, mammals, and different species there. And so the challenge was how to visit these places where even today you can't go by land, where people don't visit, where they're untouched by mass tourism, but you have these hidden monuments, temples, and palaces, natural hidden gems along the way. And that's how we pioneered the first river cruises in 100 years. And just as a bit of context, in 23, we launched the world's longest river cruise, which we hold the world record for, which is a 52-day river journey across 27 rivers of South Asia aboard one purpose-built all-suite ship. And so the latest cruises we've launched are in Orissa, which is at the bottom of the screen there, based out of Bhubaneswar, which is the airport for these catamarans which we have there. But we are operating different ships and different routes, and these are all designed in the Indian traditions. And so they are specifically designed for different routes, different areas, with local textiles and artwork, or with local crew and gourmet gastronomy on board. And so we're operating across the different waterways of Eastern India, as you can see here, with our different vessels and ships there. So of course, we design, build, own and operate our ships. We're passionate about ensuring that no pollution goes back into the river. And as a local owner-managed firm, a family business, it's important to us that we take care of our communities, our people, and we positively impact the landscapes and the habitats where we are part of and where our guests visit. And so our passion is to create these seamless journeys, because people say India is a challenging destination of long drives, how do you access culture and where do you stay? And so with the cruises, we are able to unlock privileged access with wonderful cuisine on board to have a seamless experience of the destination. And so India really should be on your bucket list for river cruising. And so the innovative itinerary I've come to propose to you today, to showcase to you today, is this incredible 12 days journey traversing from Delhi, the capital, down towards the coast of the Bay of Bengal, visiting different areas and locations along the way, focusing on India's natural heritage and incredible wildlife experiences. It's a combination of land and cruise together, of safari in a national park with a water-based cruise in a national park on the Bay of Bengal. And it's the contrast of land and cruise that makes this journey so transformational and enriching, and also highlights these unvisited areas of the region which people don't know about. So landing, of course, in Delhi, after you clear immigration and customs, you're met and transferred to your beautiful airport hotel where you spend your first night in India. And that's really where this journey begins, because the next day we fly from Delhi to Raipur, which is in central India, and we drive to a place called Kanha National Park. Now, Kanha National Park is one of the most famous wildlife sanctuaries of India, an incredible tiger reserve. It's situated in the central Indian highlands, this incredible tribal belt where you have fireflies in the nighttime. There are various types of different habitat zones and forests with several species of deer, of predators, of prey, of flora and fauna, and of course famous for being the landscape of the Jungle Book. This is an incredible large national park with almost 1,000 square kilometers of protected buffer zone, over 300 species of birds. And so Kanha is really famous for these rolling meadows with different species of deer and birds. So from Delhi, you fly, it's a 2-hour flight to the airport, to Raipur, the nearest airport, and a 4-hour drive. And so from the airport, when you leave, you drive up you drive up through the different roads along the plains, and then you head up to these central Indian highlands, not sort of mountains, but very hilly, and on winding roads up to this plateau where Kanha is based there. And so in Kanha, this is how the landscape looks. There are these incredible tribal villages, different local farmers, these called wattle and door blue village houses. It's a very different landscape where the colors change depending on the season. And so, for example, in the summertime, when it's a bit drier, you have different fields which look like this. There's these hues of gold, of green, incredible sunrise and sunsets. And so there's an incredible safari lodge there, which we have called the Bagh. And the Bagh, it means garden. And it's an incredible property, over 30 acres of land in the central Indian highlands, next to and in the periphery of this Kanha National Park, this incredible tiger reserve. And so in the entrance to the property, you walk in, there's hundreds of fruit and flowering trees with all different cottages spread throughout the property, and all different rooms with views onto these beautiful and lush gardens. And so the Bagh really it's a fantastic base in the heart of this area to explore the local peoples, the culture, and also the wonderful nature and wildlife that exists. Here's the dining room with the veranda on the front there, We have a lake within the property itself, which it starts at the beginning of the season from the monsoons being full and slowly gets drier and drier towards the end, as you can see here. There's phenomenal bird watching you can see within the property, but also there are different animals which come there in the nighttime. We have wonderful swimming pool as well, which is beautiful for rest and relaxing in between the different safaris. We grow a lot of our own food as well. This wonderful local gourmet gastronomy we serve, and of course there are different local tribal traditions to immerse in, from the Bega and Gons people who have their own cultural heritage and history, and there are also local marketplaces there. But the real appeal of Kana is, of course, it's the wildlife. It's this primary forest, the incredible mammals, and of course the safaris viewings which you have there. And so in Kana we have 3 full days in Kana to actually explore and take safaris, and you take safaris in the morning and in the evening. So morning from sunrise until around 11 a.m. or so when you come back, and then in the afternoon around 3-4 p.m. you'll go to the park until sunset there. And so we have jeeps. We're just 10 minutes from the safari lodge to the gates of the national park. There are different gates, and we're at one of the quieter gates called Muki Gate, which is the Pacific zone. And so we have different game drives within the park every day, morning and afternoon. So this is how the park looks when it's open. We have a naturalist from one of the park naturalists comes on board the gypsy with us as we go inside, and that's how the gate looks when it's opened. So we go there early in the morning. We wake up and queue up to go inside. The gates open, and then off we go into the national park. And it's really quite exciting because it's sort of, every day you'll be going out and seeing what can you discover and what can you see. And this is how initially the park looks as you're going inside. And you'll see many species, so spotted deer, different swamp deer, different monkey species, and different birds, just as you're driving into the different areas of the park. And so as you'll be going along, there'll be different birds spotted, different trees, different areas. And because there are different zones of the park, in each time, depending on the booking for the park, you'll explore different regions. So some are more meadow style, some are more these kind of rocky valleys and different small hillocks which you'll explore. And so there are different areas of biogeographical zones within the park to go and see. And so on the gypsy, you take a packed breakfast or sort of a snack tea with different snacks and fruits and juices, which you'll stop halfway through to have in the field or in a different area. And really, tiger is one of the highlights of Kana National Park. There's an incredible population of tigers who are there, as well as the different deers and abundant species there. There's also, for example, the largest bovine mammal in the world, the Indian gaur, which is an incredible species to see. You have, of course, I just was there a few weeks back, and we had incredible sightings of wolf, which was there as well, the wild dogs, which are there, and even, for example, like jackal, which took down a small spotted deer. So there's abundant species of deer which you'll see go around, and it's really a beautiful landscape set. And of course, it is totally wild. So there are predators, there are prey, and there are the natural dynamics of life which are going on. There are these different river areas as well with different creeks where you see different bird species, and you can stop and do a little bit of bird watching for different species there. You may see the park rangers, the mahouts, on their elephants, who are going about their work to their different conservation activities and work which are going on. And of course, this is the Indian roller, this beautiful bird which you can see here. There are these incredible giant sort of termite mounds which you'll see. So the Kana really has this kind of really stunning visual aesthetic with the meadows, with these termite mounds, with the different sal and other deciduous forests, as well as these wonderful opportunities for birds like the Indian roller there sitting right there in front, which you can see. There are sloth bears there as well. I mean, they're very hard to see. You won't be guaranteed to see them. But for example, I was there. We did 3 or 4 different safaris, and I was fortunate enough to see a sloth there climb up to a tree and knock a beehive down to eat the honey. It was an incredible experience. So it's really about serendipity. It's just about being in the right place at the right time. But these are wild animals, so there is, of course, nothing's guaranteed. But just the excitement of going out, of exploring, to see these different areas. One of the things that you wait to hear for are these alarm calls, and this is the alarm call of the spotted deer. And for example, this spotted deer was calling out for this tiger. Now, this tiger sighting is quite far off. He's kind of laying down there in the creek. I don't know if you can see there quite in the middle of the picture there. He's quite far off there. But as you're driving around in the gypsies in these different areas, you'll be listening out for the different alarm calls of the different deer species to say, oh, hey, there's a predator here. Oh, there's perhaps a tiger over there, for example. And that's how that sounds. you know, and of course there are different times of year to go, and I'll go cover that a bit more. But you know, sometimes you'll have sightings just where you'll see a little bit of part of the tiger. This is a tigress there who's sitting in the grass there. Other times you'll have fantastic sightings like this. And of course, you know, there's never any guarantee of tigers, but this habitat is so rich and abundant with the flora and the fauna, with the deer species, 5 species of deer, that the tigers are really in abundance as well. And so you have great opportunities to see tigers over there. And so this is a video which covers the property of the Barg and kind of the safari lodge, to give you an idea of how vast and vibrant the property is, and a wonderful safari base to explore this whole region. And so by visiting Kanha in central India, yes, you do have to fly a couple of hours from Delhi and drive 4 hours to reach there. But because it's harder to reach, it is totally an unspoiled part of India and authentic, with the villages, with different traditional stone and mud construction, and with different cow dung constructions as well, and with the leisure and nature walks through different, not just the property itself, but there are nearby birding areas and wildlife areas, nature trails with incredible butterfly species as well. So this whole area is a really sort of untouched wilderness landscape, and it's a real privilege to be able to immerse and explore it, and to see this kind of land of the jungle, which inspired Rudyard Kipling's incredible story, but also which actually features many parts of the experience which you can see in the national park, which is there. And so now from Kanha, which you can see there in the central Indian highlands, we have, after an early morning breakfast, so we've had 1 night in Delhi, we've had 4 nights in Kanha, 3 full days in the park, and with nature trails and also walks through the tribal villages. We also now get an early morning, we drive 4 hours to the Raipur airport and fly 1 hour to Bhubaneswar. Now Bhubaneswar is the state capital of Odisha, which is the next door state. So Kanha is actually in a state called Madhya Pradesh, which is in central India. And now we're going to a state which is on the Bay of Bengal on the coast called Odisha. And Bhubaneswar is the state capital there. And we transfer to this incredible, beautiful property, the Mayfair Lagoon, a beautiful deluxe property with wonderfully large rooms. And Bhubaneswar is a famous city for being the city of temples. There are incredible temples from the 10th to the 18th century, and all these are called kind of gems of Indian temple architecture. There are incredible ornate carvings with India's version of Aesop's fables, for example. There are Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain different features. And of course, Bhubaneswar has been always in between the power structures of the kingdoms of North and South India, this whole region, Odisha. And of course, this was the area where Emperor Ashoka, one of the great emperors over 2,000 years, fought his last nearby here for his last battle. It was so bloody, he became a Buddhist and spread Buddhism throughout the world. So you have this rich Buddhist heritage, Jain heritage, which was there, and Hindu culture later on there. And so this point has always been a fascinating cultural pinch point, where there's been different Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain interests and culture kind of having a friction and trying to supersede each other. And one other thing really about Odisha, which is really fascinating, is that having been on the coast, on the Bay of Bengal, it has been an incredible maritime and trading region. All of the different traders who were there from 5th century and much earlier, who were going to Indochina, who were going to Bali, for example, in different areas, they were all using ports on the Odisha's coast to go and travel to those places. So earlier, thousands of years ago, Odisha was kind of a global seaport trading hub with it for India for trade across the Bay of Bengal. And so all that wealth and trade really fueled these different incredible temples, which you can see there, and also meant that it was always in between different powers from the north and south who were vying for influence in the region. You can see here, this is on the top left, there's these ornate carvings by the doorway there. These are from India's version of, these are the different tales, but Panchatantra, these are different kind of Aesop's fables. And so you can see the wonderful story which is carved there. There are these Buddhist monuments like Ratnagiri and Lalitgiri, who were there much earlier, where there used to be these beautiful Buddhist statues and these different sites where there used to be monks who were practicing, and these are beautiful landscapes which used to be there. And here, for example, you can see this is from one of the temples. It's showing the dynamics of Buddhism and Hinduism fighting and vying for influence. The Buddhism being represented by the elephant and Hinduism by the lion, which is there on top there. So it's an incredible place to visit with the different temples and release, but also to celebrate the tribal cultures of Orissa. Orissa is home to hundreds of different tribal communities, and they all have distinct different clothing, different artwork styles, and there's an incredible museum, which is a world-acclaimed museum celebrating the tribal heritage and also a lot of the forgotten heritage, for example, as well. So there are different symbols of different altars which are used by different communities, different sacrificial ones as well, which are kind of fascinating, but also the artwork is beautiful. There are different handicraft styles, different artwork styles, or different painting styles, which you can see and explore in. So Bhubaneswar is this fantastic cultural hub and is the gateway into this area. And more specifically, Bhubaneswar is where the airport is, and the airport to go to the catamarans, our latest cruise, which we've launched in an incredible national park on the Bay of Bengal, in a national park called Bitakanika. And so you spend 2 nights in the Mayfair Lagoon Hotel in Bhubaneswar exploring these temples and the different heritage and the tribal culture. And from Bhubaneswar, you drive around 3 hours to the national park Bitakanika, which is on the Bay of Bengal there. And it used to be an old royal hunting ground there as well. It's the second largest mangrove forest after the Sundarbans National Park. And we have 4 boutique catamarans we've created there. These are India's first partly solar powered diesel hybrid ships with 2 cabins each, and they're the only ships where we exclusively sail for 3 nights to explore this rich national park. So you drive from Bhubaneswar to visit this incredible national park here region, which you can just see on the north, on the top right of this picture, showing the administrative map. And so we explored different zones of this incredible national park, which is an intertidal zone. It's a mangrove forest, an incredible flora and fauna, which you can see there. Not only is it home to it's a Ramsar site, and it's home to over 250 species of the birds, incredible deer as well, which you can see, but also it's in a specific time of year, which when in fact they close the beaches, then it's the largest breeding ground for olive ridley turtles. So this is, again, it's an incredibly vibrant and verdant, untouched, pristine landscape to explore and immerse in. And so our catamarans is actually the only way to explore the different corners over 3 nights in this national park, and essentially you won't see any other people most of the time when you're in there. So these are 2 suite catamarans with port side and starboard cabins with ensuite there. We have 5 crew on board. There's an indoor lounge come dining and a sun deck there. So the ships are we have air conditioning on board. We have a shower and WC, and all the food is made fresh on board. And this is Orissa. This is cuisine which is from Orissa. So there's a lot of seafood. There are prawns. There are soft shell crabs. So it's a very different style of Indian cuisine that would have been seen in central India, or perhaps if people have been to Rajasthan, very different to Rajasthani cuisine. But this is how the cabins are. They're double beds with the ensuite there. This is the lounge come diner with the wheelhouse in the front and the sun deck there. So these are boutique ships, but they're really for kind of this exclusive exploration of this untouched landscape there. And that's how the different rivers look. There are different cruise creeks and different channels to explore. And as we're sailing along, you'll just see, depending on the tidal condition, a low tide particularly, there'll be different spotted deer. There'll be many different species of birds and kingfishers that you will see just straight from the catamaran as we're sailing along. And of course, we have a small tender which goes along with the ship for different cruise creeks and different wildlife explorations in different parts. One of the highlights of Bitakanika, it's an incredible global conservation story, are the saltwater crocodiles. It's one of the largest population of saltwater crocodiles there. And so there are these incredible huge crocodiles, which you can see at low tide, who are hunting, who are just resting along on the different sandbank areas. And so when we go through the different cruise creeks in the smaller channels, it's really incredible experience to see these kind of dinosaur remnants sitting there and enjoying themselves at different times. I mean, this one was almost, I think, probably 7 or 8 meters long. It was huge. It was just ginormous. Yeah, just an incredible sight to see. And of course, there are different at low tide, you see the different mud skippers, the different crabs which come out there as well. So every time of day, there's always a different aspect of wildlife happening, whether it's on the mud flats, on the estuary areas, whether it's in the tree foliage, whether it's on the sandbanks there. Now, there are no tigers here, but there are, in the nighttime, there are different cats which you may be able to see, but primarily this is for birds and for immersing in this kind of incredible natural ecosystem. You can see the mud skippers pottering along there, down to the water. There you go. He made it, guys. So that's good there. So we embark on the catamarans. We set sail. We have different cruise freaks. One of these, we spend a full day in the center of in the heart of the national park, and we visit 2 areas there. This is Dangamal. There's the forest ranger station there. There's almost a kilometer-long tree canopy walk through the mangrove forest, again, which is a tidal flood zone. This is around 20. It goes between 20 to 25 meters off the ground itself. So this is an incredible, beautiful walk through the tree canopies. There's also to learn about the conservation story, which is how they're propagating the mangrove forests, which are highly under a lot of conservation threat and pressure throughout India. And there are, of course, there's a wonderful nature walk for almost 3 kilometers through the different forests. And here we visit what's called the Shikar Kuti. This is where the Maharaja used to have a small hunting station. There are different ponds there for hunting. And so there are these old temples which are there as well. And there are beautiful different storks and other birds you can see around that area. There's also the crocodile breeding center, and so the fact there's so many saltwater crocodiles is a testament to the conservation work going on in which we support, where the workers are trying to protect and to sustain the saltwater crocodile populations as well. So it's a wonderful center to visit the different areas, and also have this incredible walk to the Maharaja's hunting area. And so throughout your time in the national park, as I mentioned, there are different kingfisher species which you'll see, different birds of prey. There are different forest dwelling birds as well. And of course, it's the incredible mangroves. So inland, you have the smaller mangrove trees, you have different islands there. And now, having experienced the interiors, now we're literally going out almost to the coast of the Bay of Bengal. And so we're going through different cruise creeks and the different areas there. And this is how the mangrove forest looks. So we stop off at Habalikoti, which is a sandbar island on the Bay of Bengal. We walk an hour through the different mangrove forest. And this is the Bay of Bengal. This is how the sea looks. There was a big storm here a few years ago, so everything got wiped out there. But again, it's a different part of the national park again, and no one visits this area at all. And so it's a really unique opportunity to visit this place where no one goes to actually. And so in these different areas, you'll see different birds, different life species. And one of the days we can also go to an incredible national park next to the national park, an area called Chilka Lake, which is one of the highest diversity of wintering birds in Asia, and it's a brackish lagoon where there are different storks, different geese, and different other bird species. So that can also be combined with this area. But Beta Karnataka National Park herself is just this just incredibly rich and diverse, untouched and unvisited national park, because you have to go by river, and we actually stay overnight in the park, which in India, actually, as you know, the government, it's not normally allowed, but because the catamarans are there, we stay overnight in the different areas of the park. So you wake up to the cacophony of the sound, the songs, and the different wildlife which you see there. So this is a video which I hope will bring the catamarans to life a little bit. And so, having experienced the Central Indian Highlands and now gone to Odisha and seen the different temples and tribal heritage in the national park, you fly back from Bhubaneswar to Delhi, stay in this wonderful airport hotel, and fly home. So it's an 11 nights, 12 days, incredible journey. And so, of course, our trips have been called aristocratic, high-end, luxurious, but also responsible, ethical, and transformational as well. And so, as a family business, our passion is to actually showcase the real stories of India, the hidden peoples, have incredible local interactions, taste the local fare, but also benefit the local communities and peoples which we're part of and which we contribute to. So by traveling in Kana and in Orissa, contributing to the conservation projects, to the local employment, and also the sustainable development of their area is really important to the journey and to the history and the heritage of what we're trying to promote there. And just to give you an idea of how technically this trip operates, so the season, because of the different national park opening times, essentially this itinerary could run between the 1st of October to 30th of April. And so really, for particularly for tigers and the larger mammals, for Kana National Park, February, March, April are really the best times. Those are the peak times, but also really the best times because essentially during the monsoon, particularly in the central Indian Highlands area, there's quite large inundations of water. And so because of that, the flora and the fauna, the foliage becomes very thick and dense. And so as the winter progresses and the habitat becomes drier, the water has also become more concentrated, and of course the vegetation becomes much reduced, and so therefore the visibility and the focus of the animals and the game viewing and the mammals in particular becomes much more visible. Of course, February, March, April are a little bit on the warmer side, but then you are, don't forget, you are doing safaris in the early morning and the late afternoon as well. And again, when it comes to Bitakanika, for example, because of the different the monsoon conditions as well, but also for the animals as well, that's the same reason there. But this is really an unparalleled, and for the first time be able to see not only Bitakanika National Park in this truly transformational way with incredible the orientation center and the wildlife experiences, but also to combine with the central Indian safari experience. That really makes that contrast of being in this central Indian region, which is fairly dry, which is a different type of habitat. Then you're combining with this mangrove forest on the coast, and that together really from a wildlife perspective, and from those who are kind of environmentally curious as well, who want to see these hidden gems and hidden parts of India, that's unique there as well. And so this program really is for individuals and for FITs as well. And so I've just given some indication of what sort of costs would be for this type of trip. Including everything from the meals, excursions, the sightseeing. We have local expert naturalists and guides, different and wildlife photographers who are there, who can showcase the best parts of the stories, the people and place who are from these local regions, and of course including all the meals to make sure it's a seamless journey between the different areas and different activities which are there. And so we have been featured amongst the press, amongst the best river journeys in the world with boats that rock. And so particularly through the catamarans, but also combining with different land trips of India, we hope to change the idea of India that yes, it is a challenging destination, but we have these incredible opportunities for cultural exchange, for learning, and for transformation memories of a lifetime. So thank you so much for your time. Wonderful to spend a brief time with you here today. So my email is at arjun@antara.cruises, and you can find more about our cruises at antaracruises.com. And if you Google the Bagh Kana as well, you'll see more information on our Safari Lodge, which is there in central India. So thank you so much. And I would implore you to please consider India for these incredible cultural treasures and wild wonders. And there is a way you can do it differently, which is away from the crowds, but where you are unearthing these low impact, low volume stories, and to kind of have these wonderful, unique moments of really kind of fundamental memories, and that will be cherished for years to come after visiting there. So thank you so much, and we'd love to have any questions, please, Andy, if there's any questions.
Absolutely, man. Just hearing some of the sites you are offering, it sounds amazing. It sounds truly, truly amazing. I have a question then before we take any other questions. Was the sloth slow when you saw it hit the beehive down?
Was the sloth, sorry, was it?
Was it sloth slow? Did it move like we perceive a sloth to move? Was it moving super slow?
It was moving, yeah, like a medium speed. I mean, actually, it was quite funny because it was for a long time couldn't see it, but then actually then saw it climb up, and actually it was sat in the tree for a long time, and you could see all the bees buzzing around. And we weren't
Wow.
sure what it was doing up there, and then essentially it must have knocked the beehive down because then it suddenly rapidly came down, and then it was just kind of hiding behind a tree actually. Um, I mean, one of the funny things
Too
is with
cool.
the funny thing is, 'cause you're going in these open air gypsies, these jeeps, and you're sitting there. Of course, we have it's early morning when you go. Sometimes it's quite cold, so we have blankets there. We have different tea and coffee and snacks we bring along for the halfway point. But essentially, you're very open there. So even when you go and see the tiger is literally it could be a meter in front of the jeep right next to you. It's kind of
Wow.
it's really unique. They see you as part of the jeep there as well, but also sometimes, for example, I think because they had the honey there, I think he was just hiding just to make sure he had that and to do that. But really, when you're going in these open air gypsies, it's really a wonderful. I mean, you have to kind of experience it to kind of really understand it. But you're going there with a rush of air in your hair. You're listening out for those alarm calls, like I played you the spotted deer of the different animals. The different monkeys have different alarm calls as well for tiger as well. So you're listening out for those alarm calls. You're listening out for birds. And then when you do actually have that serendipity, that chance to have an encounter with an incredible large mammal like a jackal or a different bear, you really get to interface directly with that from the gypsy, and it's really a unique experience. So yeah, it's just really, as I said, these are wild animals. They're not kind of catering, they're not waiting for you to come around, but it's more about exploring, enjoying the habitat, enjoying the area, and then if you're blessed to go and see one of these different mammal species, to have that opportunity, that's really wonderful.
It sounds very, very immersive for sure.
And particularly also,
One question we had was, is this something that kids could do as well? Like kid friendly? Is this something that you think some younger kids could do?
well, I mean, I've just done it with my kids. So I did it
Okay.
with my wife and my dad, and I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So it's done, but it's not for the faint of heart.
I have an 11, 7, and 10-month-old, and I can only imagine that would have been a challenge for you.
I mean, it sounds funny. So so the far, for example, so on the catamarans, it's fine because you're there, you're sailing on. They are on the smaller side. So we, as you know, Andy, we've done a presentation before. We have our ships like the Ganges Voyager, which are larger ships, and I've also been with my kids on those. Those are much, these are like half the size of European river ships. So those ships have, we have bigger public areas and lounges. These catamarans are kind of boutique, so you are sort of a little bit constrained there. But the kids did really enjoy that. I think one of the challenges, for example, in the safari in Kana, is when you're getting up at your 4 a.m. for a 5 a.m. start, and then you're in that jeep until 10, 11 a.m. That can be quite a struggle because by law you're not allowed to leave the jeep in the national park. You're allowed to put your foot down. And so we did have. I'm not going to lie, we did have his tablet with him, and of course, we're there with the tiger, and he just wants to go on his tablet. So everyone's looking at us and thinking, oh gosh, he's got this tablet there, and of course the tablet makes a sound, the noise comes on, and it's very awkward. But the animals there are fine. It's more the other people the other people who are there, but obviously you don't want to disturb the wildlife. You're not supposed to make noise. So I think if you can manage that stress well, and if you don't mind that challenge and taking more time with the kids, it's definitely doable. But I think from an older age, like 12, maybe 12, 11, 12 and onwards.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I know we took my oldest to Hawaii and Mexico before she turned 3, and she doesn't remember any of it, unfortunately.
But I think definitely the Orissa, the catamarans can be done. In Bhubaneswar, the hotels are fantastic as well. So even if you're spending 2 or 3 nights on the ship, we have different fruits, there are different local foods, the staff are good. But then also you have that R&R at the end in Bhubaneswar in a nice hotel where you can have chocolate ice cream and pizza and do all that as well.
Yeah.
So and then I said, Kana can be there. I just think it's a challenge with the long game drives, which you have to do because you have to drive, to the park and you're driving in different areas. So your kids need to be quite patient for that. So I would say it's possible. I've done it, but yeah, that was both my wife and my dad. So and with the two children. So it's not impossible, but it does take some effort.
Okay. And what would you say is an appropriate amount of days to get really the full experience of what you guys offer, of the full itinerary, post and pre?
Well, I mean, essentially, so the ideal for Kana would be a minimum 3 full days in Kana, which is 4 nights. And the reason why is because essentially by the time you fly there and drive there, and you actually get settled after a day or two, and then by the time you're settled, you're already leaving. And the things, by spending more time there as well, you can actually you have better chances of seeing the different mammals and different species, because as you spend more time, you'll be able to explore different areas of the park. You'll have more different entry areas. And the same thing is for the catamarans. Again, 3 nights, because with the sailing times, it's when you board the ship in the evening, because again it's a day, half a day travel to reach there. Then the next day you're sailing half the day to reach the the interpretation center, the park ranger station, the tree canopy walk, and then the next morning you'll be doing you'll be in cruise creeks. The next morning you'll be doing the nature walk, and then you'll be sailing to the coast half a day, which is a beautiful sailing through different creeks out to the Bay of Bengal, and then again the excursion to the beach and back. So again it will be a 3 nights 4 days minimum. for each of these activities. And then essentially in between, it's good to have a little bit of R&R in between as well. So Bhubaneswar is not just about having, you know, the wonderful hotels there and the great food, but also this incredible Buddhist culture, heritage, the tribal culture. There are incredible museums which are there. So you can fly into Delhi, then you go to Kana for three or four nights, then you go to Bhubaneswar to see this the different part of heritage, and then you go to see the catamarans there. So by changing that, you kind of change the rhythm as well, and you're exploring different features of these regions. Orisha state has this is really one of the least you know, it's not a well-known state for people to visit, but it has, because of these thousands of years of Buddhist culture, heritage, and history, textiles and tribals, and the trade with all of the Bay of Bengal countries where, you know, you had different Hindu culture exported thousands of years back to Indochina, to Bali, and different areas, all were going through the ports here. So you have this wonderful place of it which people don't know about. And so to have the catamarans with wildlife, to have Bhubaneswar in 3 or 4 nights minimum. If you have more time, for example, in Orisha, then I recommend to add on there these beautiful heritage palaces, which are there 200-year-old heritage palaces in tribal textiles areas, where you'll stay in these boutique properties and explore that heritage as well. So you know, there's a minimum time I would recommend to spend it, just to make it worthwhile. But always we prefer spending more time in one place and exploring fully that area, rather than having one night and then changing all the time different places where you're staying.
That makes absolute sense. And a question about the driving and the tours, the Jeep tours. Are there like bathroom breaks? Are there, you know, obviously you mentioned there's a break for coffee and tea, but are there restrooms located on the journey?
Absolutely. So there are. So Kana is a national park, and it's, you know, it's a government entity there. And so what happens is a lot of local people are actually working in the park as well. And so one of the key things, there are specific rest points designated where you are allowed to disembark, and you are allowed to get down, and then there are bathrooms there. So
Okay,
so basically it's managed in that way. Yeah.
fantastic. Well, that's I think that's a relief for everyone. No pun intended. Well, Arjun, this was a wonderful presentation. This is recorded. I will have this live on our YouTube channel within the next few hours. And thank you all for participating. And Arjun, thank you so much for the fantastic presentation, information, and all of the great things. And we do have a giveaway to wrap this up. We've got a $50 Amazon gift card that we will be giving away courtesy of travelprofessionalnews.com. And the answer is, I think it's going to be a good one. So I'm going to go ahead and ask that question right now. And I'm going to do the 5th person who types that correct answer in the questions area is going to walk home with a $50 gift card in your email box. So the question, which airport is the main source for the catamaran adventures offered by Antara Cruises? Go ahead and type that answer in. What airport are we going to use for those amazing catamaran adventures? Keep them on coming in, guys. This is looking great. Fantastic. We've got a winner here. And I'm going to say an extra thank you, because during this presentation, this person was very, very commentive on all the slides. So Jacqueline, congratulations. You got a $50 Amazon gift card to use on any kind of summer fun you got planned. We will be in touch with you with that gift card after the webinar. And Arjun, thank you again for such a great presentation, and we look forward to doing more with you in the future, my friend.
Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. I hope you've enjoyed learning more about a little bit of a different side of India and how we're always innovating new ways to experience the destination. So hopefully this time I'm able to showcase something new, and next time I'll show you something even more innovative, which we're just going to launch at some point soon. So please think of Orissa, think of Kana, think of these incredible experiences, which can also be combined with Taj Mahal if people are interested, or other regions as well. So it's the contrast of these unique local experiences with the famous monuments that makes the journey innovative when it comes to an Indian context. So thank you so much for your time. India is an incredible, world-class, regenerative river cruise destination. We have incredible river cruising opportunities along the Ganges and other rivers as well. And we have different locally crafted ships, from these boutique 2-suite catamarans right up to the 28-suite Ganges Voyager, which is there as well. So please have a look at our website and have a see. If you think you have guests who sail the Nile, the Mekong, I would like to see a different part of the world in a different way, have a look at Antara Cruises. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Arjun, and I couldn't agree more. It's a great product, great offering. Thank you all for your time today. We appreciate it, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.